For performing the church song Namin in drag, Pura Luka Vega has been arrested twice, has paid 1.2 million pesos in bail over criminal charges of, quote, indecent and immoral shows. Should drag really come at such a high cost? Hello and welcome. I am Lian Buan and this is Rappler Talk. And today we have Pura in the studio. Thank you so much for
Thank you for
coming.
having me.
You were just arrested 2 weeks ago. Yun yung latest.
I was? No, yeah.
How have you been ever since that?
Actually, just pretty back. I mean, I was able to go back to my usual routine. Yeah, not much difference, but yeah.
You look so light. You look so positive.
I do.
Parang hindi ka humaharap sa maraming
Salamat.
kaso. How have these cases affected you, or has it disrupted your life in any way?
It did for a time, but I kind of learned how to cope. Probably because I've been working for the mental health program, so I know some coping mechanisms, and kind of grounding myself to not allow these events to kind of take over, and just have control of your narrative and what you get to do.
How has it affected your perception of your freedom or safety? Like, kasi na-aresto ka na, paranoid ka na ba na, oh, baka may aaresto na sa akin paglabas ko? May ganun ka ba?
Not really, but I think whatever I've experienced is more of a litmus test to how far we are in terms of accepting, queer people, or I think, or how different our expressions are. So, yeah, I think it's more of that. It's not much of how I feel, because I've already conditioned myself to a point wherein you get to feel feel these emotions, and then you kind of a switch in my brain kind of tells me to, like, okay, what do I need to do to kind of just move forward. So yeah.
Yung kanyang level of acceptance and control, did that come immediately after the first case?
I think you really have to experience a lot of, I guess, difficult situations for you to get a handle of how to approach it better. So I guess the second time I was arrested was easier, because I get to experience it the first time. So parang, okay, alam ka na. And also, what it means on a bigger picture. I mean, if I get to always think about myself, then definitely I think about how miserable the situation is. But I have to separate myself to the point that, what does this mean with other queer people? With expression, what does this mean with the people around me, and what does this mean with accepting one's differences? So I guess if you have that line of questioning, it kind of puts things into perspective, so you don't really look at the situation as something that's miserable.
Yeah. But what does it mean for your family? How have they been?
Well, my immediate family had been very supportive. My mom in particular understands what the performance was about, and even within my circle of friends, they knew that it was really just an expression of faith, an artistic expression. So I guess that's what matters. I go by what Dr. Seuss would say, which is, those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't really matter, I think. So
that's a good motto to live by, no? But it doesn't take
very
away
children's book, okay.
But it doesn't take away the fact that it has cost you so far isang milyon
Totoo naman.
in bail. How has that financial burden affected you also? How are you coping?
In all honesty, I don't think I'll be able to get through that without the support of a lot of people who kind of chip in with the costs of all of this. So I have, my drag sisters to thank for NAIA, for organizing. Shout out to NAIA. Because they've contributed to of the predicament that I'm in, and then the donations did help for the cases. So we get a lot of support, and to me, I have to honor that. I have to make sure that the money that they've sent is something that goes to really, winning the cases. Plural.
This is very reminiscent of like a case during the pandemic, yung nag-ambag-ambag din sa Twitter yung mga tao para sa bills, like really bayanihan in action. Sa dalawang cases na na-arrest ka, gaano ka tumagal sa kulungan? Umadugtog ka ba ng isang araw doon?
Well, the first time I was arrested was just 3 days. It was supposed to be 5.
O hindi yun just 3 araw.
Well,
haba nun.
Well, I don't know. Time is relative, and I think people don't don't know this, but I'm not that. I've been in prisons before because I have an uncle who was in prison. I used to visit him, so it's not something that's very alien to me. So, ayun, you just be there and talk to people. I talk to people, actually.
So 3 days yung pinakamahaba?
3 days yung pinakamahaba. And then kind of to just, get by with the time, I just talk to the cellmates, what are they in for, what are their struggles, their aspirations in life. Char. But yeah, it's interesting.
Kamusta yung preso mo, crowded ba?
The first time I was arrested, the conditions were a little sad lang. I think, well, I guess it shows that not every jail or prison is equipped with certain things. So, kailangan talaga may budget yan. Even the food. Like, I think this is the biggest problem for the inmates, to have food all the time because they rely on the people who visit the jails and the prison. So, parang, it's very scarce.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of still fortunate that people give me food, but for the rest you have to share.
Yeah.
That's actually the first thing I did when I went in prison the first time. Bumili ako ng maraming tinapay. Okay, kain tayo ng tinapay. And like, ayun, because they were asking, they were really hungry. You can see, can feel it.
Yeah.
Yung ganun.
Yeah, I've heard stories nga of PDLs na kapag may bigay yung visitor ng isa pa lang kapwa PDL na medyo nakakaluwag-luwag dun sila din nakakakain.
Correct, exactly.
So may mga newfound realizations ka ba after mong makulong?
Well,
about life?
Yes,
freedom?
about life. Yeah, in general, like I think not everyone has access to being represented well, or getting the justice that they, I think, deserve, or just even to have a fair chance at justice or freedom.
Which brings me to my next question. You once tweeted na ngayon mas comfortable ka na in using some legal terms kasi you find now yourself in the middle of it all, no? So ano din yung mga new learnings mo about how the justice system works?
There are certain processes that I think I got to be familiar with, like how, some of my lawyers oriented me on what to do next, or the terms like the motion for consideration, all of these things. I'm like, wow, okay. So this is like a crash course in law. So it's kind of like fulfilling an Elwood's fantasy in my head. So para, okay, work. Ayun.
Pero maganda yung sinabi mo kanina nga na not everyone has the same access.
Correct. So, I'm actually very fortunate to have a group of lawyers who, are willing to help me.
Yeah.
I don't have enough. I don't,
Your case it's so interesting. It's very interesting not only to lawyers but everyone interested in law. At the bottom of it, it's a free speech case. Na-embrace mo na ba yung baka potential role mo na ikaw na yung symbol for that fight? Sabi mo nga, baka maging poster child ka for this fight. Some people are calling to declare as unconstitutional yung mga clause na ginamit sa'yo. Yes. Have you embraced that role or gusto mo lang bumalik na lang sa normal na buhay?
I think I'd rather go through that and really push that, the unconstitutionality of all of these laws, archaic laws. Because I think they can use it, and if they had a chance to go, if not me, someone in the future. So I feel like, yeah, definitely, we need to really revisit some of our laws if we needed, to have something that's good for all. Like, for countless of times, I think as a queer person, I've had people use the Bible as a weapon against us. And now we have laws that are used the same thing as weapons against us. So parang feeling ko, if we don't challenge this, I don't think we'll have, changes that are, for us.
Anong naisip mong reflection about the state of inclusivity or acceptance or tolerance of LGBTQ? Kasi we've always prided ourselves na, dito sa Pilipinas we're LGBTQ
Right,
friendly.
yeah.
And then this happens to you. So what's been your reflections?
Ironically, no. Well, we kind of label ourselves as LGBT friendly. However, with the laws that protect queer people, it's not there yet. So that's the irony. So who are we really serving here? Because I think as queer Filipinos, as part of the LGBTQI community, we really need to have these, to protect the community. Because it's not fair to front ourselves as something that, we're accepting of queer people, and yet here, we have cases of harassment or even death for some of our trans sisters, or trans brothers. Like, maraming wrong things that are happening within the community that people are not, or I think are desensitized. Because I think they're blinded by, their comforts, the privileges that they have. So they're not able to feel, or the humanities, we're losing the humanity part of it. I think that's the problem. And us as drag performers, our, just like any artist, we want to kind of rekindle that humanity for people to be reminded of that we're all human beings here. We make mistakes, of course, but we also should not, gang up against each other. Yeah.
Speaking of drag, do you think if drag were more mainstream here, kung mas malakas ang drag dito sa Pilipinas, would these cases have been filed against you?
I think malakas na talaga ang drag noon pa man, but people have the appreciation for drag hindi ganun ka lalim or hindi masyado tinatangkilik. Siguro ngayon lang dahil nagiging mainstream na siya. But drag has been here. It has been our form of entertainment, especially for the people who are in the fringes. So it's been there. Siguro for people who don't necessarily experience the same situations or experiences that we have, the appreciation might be different, or maybe there's no appreciation at all. Siguro
in fact, opposition.
Correct. So I think the danger is kind of re-echoing what is happening with some of the countries like the US having this propaganda against the art of drag, when in fact it's really just, where people have always used this narrative that drag influences or corrupts certain the children. How? So, because I don't think it does, it's just an art form. Naturally, if you don't like a certain story, then you just go on and go for that story that actually you would resonate with. It's funny that people kind of have this feeling of regulating what goes on in social media, which is another thing. Na parang feeling ko, sino ba dapat na mag-regulate nun? That's also another topic to explore, I guess.
Sabi nga ng isa mong napanalong kaso, your drag taken as a whole has serious literary, artistic, or scientific value.
Thank you naman po. Sino na?
Sulat na.
Sulat na.
But nabanggit mo na nga ng drag is attacked in the US and elsewhere.
Yeah.
And yun na nga, ang dami nang nangyari sa'yo. Would you still do drag?
Of course.
To the extent that you've done so far?
Of course, because I think drag has been really helpful for me to address social and personal trauma, I guess. It enabled me to really have a voice on certain topics and telling my story from my point of view. That's how powerful drag is to me. And I don't know, I'm so grateful for doing drag, so I wouldn't trade it for the world. Because it's a fun way of just telling your story and telling your truth. And I think I don't like anyone to take control of my story, of my narrative. I'd like to be hands-on and take control of my story.
I have just one last question. These cases have been filed against you by religious people. So let's talk about faith.
Yes.
How would you describe your faith, and how do you think all of these have impacted your faith?
Well, first off, I'd like to also stress that I do not intend to indoctrinate people or to tell them how they worship, because that's their thing. I think one thing that I've learned as I grew up is faith is very personal. The way that you express your faith or whatever you believe in is personal. So no one can take that away I can't take that away from anyone. If your faith in a divine being is really firm and strong, then whatever expressions other people have towards whatever should not faze you. What I did should not bother you, I think, if your faith is really that strong. In my case, I became more, I kind of had more faith. It didn't really waver. I really did think that, God has been with me, with my family, with my friends, and with the people who supported me. I have that belief in a divine being, and I also don't take it against people who may not have that belief. You're free to believe whatever you want. But for me personally, I think that thank you, Lord. Yeah. Ganun na lang talaga. Thank you, Lord.
Oh, where can your fans and followers see you? Where are you doing drag right now?
Well, I frequent. I'm a frequent drag performer at Nectar nightclub. But I also do a lot of other shows in other queer spaces. I get invited to a lot of universities and schools to do drag shows and all these things. They can follow me in my socials.
Go invite.
Saan camera ba? Char.
Ito.
Yun po, follow me na lang. Wherever at Pura Luka Vega. On a lot of LinkedIn, charot. Charot lang. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of these things. Basta hanapin nyo na lang, nagkalat na yun sa internet.
For sure, alam nila kung saan ka mahahanap.
Correct.
Alright, thank you very much for that enlightening conversation.
Thank you, Lian.
That was Pura Luka Vega. I am Lian Buon. Please download the Rappler app, available on iOS and Android. And when you do, click the Communities tab and join the Justice and Human Rights channel. This has been Rappler Talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you.